ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਹੋਸਟ ਰੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਨਿਊਜ਼ TV84 ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀਅਰਸ। ਅੱਜ ਬੜਾ ਹੀ ਅਫਸੋਸ ਵਾਲਾ ਦਿਨ ਹੈ। ਅੱਜ ਤੋਂ 3 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਨਸਲਵਾਦੀ ਗੋਰੇ ਨੇ ਓਕ ਕ੍ਰੀਕ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਾਖਲ ਹੋ ਕੇ 6 ਬੇਗੁਨਾਹ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਰ ਮੁਕਾਇਆ ਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਖਮੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ। ਮਰਨ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਰਮਜੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਸੈਣੀ, ਸੀਤਾ ਸਿੰਘ, ਰਣਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ, ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ ਸਿੰਘ, ਸੁਬੇਗ ਸਿੰਘ, ਸਤਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਅਤੇ ਜ਼ਖਮੀ ਹੋਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਾਬਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਸਿੰਘ ਅਤੇ ਭਾਈ ਸੰਤੋਖ ਸਿੰਘ ਸ਼ਾਮਿਲ ਸਨ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਦੁਖਦ ਯਾਦ ਦੀ ਤੀਸਰੀ ਵਰ੍ਹੇਗੰਢ ਮੌਕੇ ਇਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਰਧਾ ਦੇ ਫੁੱਲ ਭੇਂਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਆਫੀਸਰ ਲੈਫਟੀਨੈਂਟ ਬ੍ਰਾਇਨ ਮਰਫੀ, ਜਿਸ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਕਈ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਾਨ ਬਚਾਈ, ਇਸ ਦੀ ਬਹਾਦਰੀ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸਲੂਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਵੀਅਰਸ, ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਦੁਖਦ ਯਾਦ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਰਪਿਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹ ਨਸਲੀ ਨਫ਼ਰਤ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ 9/11 ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ਕਰ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਿਸ਼ਾਨਾ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਹੱਲ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੋ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸੈਂਟਰਲ ਕਾਲਜ ਫੈਲਾ ਆਇਓਵਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਂਥਰੋਪੋਲੋਜੀ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸਿੰਥੀਆ ਕੇ ਮਹਿਮੂਦ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ। ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸਿੰਥੀਆ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਟਰਗਲ ਦੇ ਸਕਾਲਰ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ 5-6 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਫਾਈਟਿੰਗ ਫॉर ਫੇਥ ਐਂਡ ਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਡਾਇਲੌਗਸ ਵਿਦ ਸਿੱਖ ਮਿਲੀਟੈਂਟਸ ਲਿਖੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਕਈ ਥਾਵਾਂ ਤੇ ਟੈਕਸਟ ਬੁੱਕ ਦੀ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ। ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸਿੰਥੀਆ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਹਮਦਰਦ ਹਨ ਅਤੇ ਕੁਝ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲ ਅਸਾਈਲਮ ਕੇਸਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਐਜ਼ ਐਨ ਐਕਸਪਰਟ ਵਿਟਨੈਸ ਵੀ ਟੈਸਟੀਫਾਈ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਲਾਈਨ ਤੇ ਜੁੜ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਨੇ। ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸਿੰਥੀਆ। Hello, Dr. Cynthia.
Yes, hello.
Dr. Cynthia, first of all, welcome to TV84 News. And
thank you so much. I'm pleased to be with you.
You're welcome, Cynthia. Dr. Cynthia, basically in Punjabi introduction, I explained our viewers of TV84 about the 3rd anniversary of tragic Oak Creek, Wisconsin shooting that killed Sikh innocent worshipper and injured few others. First of all, what would you like to say on the 3rd anniversary of this tragic incident?
Well, of course, our minds are sobered remembering what happened 3 years ago. I remember I was part of the commemoration in Greenwood, Indiana at that time. But, you know, at the same time as we feel terribly sad by what happened, there was also a time when the community came together. And I know when I was in Greenwood, many of the neighbors came out, many of the non-Sikh organizations came out in solidarity. And since that time, 3 years ago, there's been even more healing and more unity among the community. So I guess I have two feelings. You know, one is extreme sadness, but the other is kind of a pride that the community has really come together and tried to overcome these kinds of hatreds.
Yes. Cynthia, I would like to ask you to, like in this country, the ratio of violence is on the rise. Not only Sikhs are being attacked, even other communities such as African Americans are being targeted as well. In this country, whenever we open up a newspaper, if we go online, every day we hear about like shooting, you know, someone's like shooting over here, someone's shootings over there, sometime in theaters, gunfires. What is going on in America? How can we all stop this, like the hate crimes? And also, what we need to do stop such a hate crime, especially against Sikhs?
Yes, we have a culture that is permeated by violence. And, you know, ever since 9/11, violent episodes such as the ones you described have been on the upswing in the United States.
Yes.
It's as if that shock of 9/11 put to rest the feelings of safety and certainty that allowed Americans to be tolerant of others. And since 9/11, we have been all too ready to, you know, frankly, pick up a gun and do away with our enemies, whether they are Muslims in some other part of the world or whether they are some perceived enemy locally, like Sikhs in a Gurdwara or like African Americans in the process of being arrested. So I think, you know, on the least we can do is gun control. I mean, that's not the total answer, but that's the initial answer in my mind. I don't see any reason why we can't follow the example of countries in Europe, which have much more secure societies because they don't allow weapons in the way that we do. But secondly is the bigger question: how do you manage to inspire a sense of tolerance and unity amongst Americans of all colors and all stripes and all walks of life?
Yes.
You know, the election of Obama, in fact, we continue to see a backlash against the fact that we finally elected an African American, where people are ready to place even him in this situation of being an enemy other, like maybe he's a Muslim, maybe he wasn't born here. We heard that kind of rhetoric.
Of course.
And one of the stars of the night,
So this is the big question facing us, and I think it's tied to 9/11. It's tied to the war on terror internationally, that we have these. We have this dangerous enemy who is very different from ourselves, and now we project that enmity onto all kinds of groups domestically as well.
Yes, yes. I would like to ask you, like, you're a professor of anthropology, your comparative study of human societies and cultures and their development. You have worked with Sikh communities for almost past 20 years. What is your personal experience with Sikh community, like dealing with Sikh community especially?
Oh, that's such a good question, because it's been my great honor and pleasure to work with the Sikhs, as you say, over 20 years now. The Sikh community is such a warm, hospitable community. I mean, I'm an outsider, but I have never been made to feel like an outsider. I've been welcomed into every Sikh home and every gurdwara that I have attended. But at the same time, I think you know as well as I that one of the issues facing the Sikh community is divisiveness within the community. As soon as one organization springs up, then there are two organizations, then there are three organizations. Voices get raised in argument way too quickly among the Sikhs. It's a cultural thing, I know that. And I do have to say that in the 20 years that I've been with the Sikhs, this has lessened. The younger generations who have grown up in the West are much more capable of having just a civil dialogue about a subject without it coming to argument or to blows, in fact. So, I feel really positively. This summer I was able to go to a youth retreat in Yosemite sponsored by Virsa, and getting to know these Sikh young people, they were high school or college age, and I could see how much more healthy they were in their understanding of how to evolve through their differences than their parents had been or than their grandparents had been.
Yes, yes. So, in your point of view, what Sikhs needs to do? What should we, how can we be acceptable in mainstream community? What do you think? What's your point of view?
This has just always been a problem. I think the Sikhs, have had very bad public relations from the point of view of India. I mean, India itself has interfered on every level on the Sikhs' reputation. Yes. And then in this country, there's the problem of looking like Muslim enemies of the United States. So I still feel a lot of the energies within the Sikh community are devoted to efforts within the community. And sometimes it's like we're talking to the choir instead of focusing our efforts outward to the outside community. And that's why I say, when I remember Oak Creek, I have a little bit of a positive feeling, because that was a moment when we, within the Sikh community, we did reach out and build bridges with the wider American community.
Okay.
There have been some notable exceptions, like Valerie Carr's movie, which really reached out and made the Sikh community accessible to a lot of Americans. And there are other great examples. But I think generally, the Sikhs have to be careful not to build a kind of hothouse community where they talk only to themselves. And I have always said this, that, every gurdwara should be reaching out and sending people to go and visit churches nearby and mosques nearby and synagogues nearby, and invite reciprocally people to come to the gurdwara to see what Sikhi is like.
Yes.
So I've said this for years, and I still believe that's an important thing that Sikhs need to do.
Of course. Ms. Cynthia, we have only a few minutes left. I know the time is very limited over here on this show, but I would like to ask you a few questions about your book as well that you wrote about fighting for faith and nation, dialogues with Sikh militants. How was that experience like? Like, why did you choose to write a book about Sikhs and especially the militants? That's my first question.
Yes, well, that is kind of interesting, because I grew up in a very pacifist environment. And then I started studying India, and at first I studied Buddhism, actually, and I wrote my dissertation about the failure of Buddhism in India, which was a very political event, and that was in 1983-84, so I saw the tensions with Sikhs arising. And at first I was interested in human rights abuses and what the Sikhs were going through, and for years I researched that topic, and I learned from Sikhs the stories of their suffering. And then I realized, of course, that many Sikhs were also resisting, and I seized that opportunity to get to know what are the lives of people like who are in the middle of battle. I came to respect the militants a great deal. I disagreed with some of their tactics, but I really respected their courage, their honesty, their devotion, and I understood their grievances with the state of India. So writing that book has been a great honor to me to be able to, you know, at least fix in history what has happened during those years that India and certainly the rest of the world would rather just forget about.
Yes. Cynthia, as you know, I mentioned earlier, we have very less time and so many questions to ask, but at the end, because it's your first time that you're talking to TV84 viewers, I would like to ask you, do you have any message for our viewers? We have only like a few seconds left.
Well, I think my message is continue to stay strong as a community, continue to reach out and build bridges with others, because others would like to get to know you just in the way that I have.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Cynthia. And of course, I have so many questions about your book because I have read your book and there's so many questions that boggles in my mind. So in the coming days, I would like to interview you again regarding this book so we could ask you all the questions that I have.
Certainly,
so
I would love that.
Thank you so much for your time. And now we take a leave from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Viewers, वक्त हो गया साडा छोटे जे ब्रेक दा. Keep watching TV84. We'll be right back after a short break.